does POTS have a cure? When does the cure come if not? So my perspective is if we're looking at cure as a healing response, then my perspective is that POTS can heal, can have a cure. Cure is kind of the resolution of that. It's not like an ephemeral, mystical word, but that comes with some caveats. Typically, we're figuring out what is the underlying component to that, like we always talk about. You've been here for that. So my perspective has been, I read a lot about and I get bombarded with that statement a lot. It doesn't have a cure. Every paper you read when to start off, it doesn't have a cure. Everything I get sent says, but it doesn't have a cure. But my lived experience has been people that had it and felt real bad, didn't do real well, that also were able to do things and improve their life and then not have any of those symptoms anymore, like for a sustained long period of time, ongoing. So my perspective is that I don't think that that's the right assumption to start with. And I think that that is the main thing that I'm trying to portray is like, if we start from that position of everybody assumes the belief that it's incurable, then they don't even start to try to make an answer, and they will actually defend the fact that it's incurable rather than opening up and figuring out how am I going to fix it. So if we constantly are telling people you got no shot and they believe they got no shot, then we can't help them. And I think that that's a terrible place to start from. Number one, just from a mindset perspective. But then number two, it's just not the experience that I've lived in my life. So I'm here to say that like that is my experience. I hope people aren't, if you're finding people are telling you that and like grinding you down with that, find new people to hang out with, because there's a whole world of people that have really interesting ideas about how to solve these problems, how to fix it, and have a true desire to help people. So that's my message. Is there a connection between temporomandibular joint, TMJ, and dysautonomia? For example, if you have a disc displacement in the jaw joint, can it cause symptoms of dysautonomia? Great question. So the disc itself being displaced may not be the cause. However, an interesting part of all of this is the relationship between kind of multiple things at one time. So with the jaw displacement, number one, you want to know, is it coming from an injury? Did you get like punched in the jaw? Are you a boxer? Did you get checked in the head? Are you like, what's going on? So is that the reason for the displacement? Or did we have some sort of an oral intervention, braces or Invisalign or a palate expander or retainer or something that causes a change in the dentition, your teeth, that would then cause irritation or a change in the closure of the jaw. So those are kind of like, that's just table stakes. Then we back out of that and we go, you know what, that jaw, think about how articulating, like how precise the movement of the jaw has to be able to speak. And then to be able to chew. Like how many of you guys have ever noticed, like, you're moving the food around in your mouth and you're chewing and some people are talking and like all this stuff that's being coordinated in your mouth all at one time. You're breathing. So your jaw actually has a ton of proprioception or receptors that sense where it is in space. A lot. And those jaw proprioceptors travel through the trigeminal system into the trigeminal nucleus, which is this big core nucleus in the brainstem. It's really cool. But it also interfaces with other sensors from your head. But then also the proprioception of your jaw is very much linked to the proprioception of your neck. So the origin story, or a catalyst, as we were talking about earlier, really kind of becomes important because we want to know why that disc is being degenerated. If it's from something like, some people will find, for example, so we had a football player who noticed that when he would look down and be like working in the garage, when he would come up, he would notice that his eyes were like a little funny, like he couldn't focus his eyes, but then also that his teeth didn't line up. Like there was like a hitch in his jaw and his teeth didn't line up right. And then when you look at it, he's got this old whiplash injury. And this is a really good example of how something that was an injury here actually, when you stressed it, created a problem in the visual system and in the jaw. So then you realize that all of these things all circle to each other. They all talk together. So if one of them's pissed off, it can irritate the other ones, and they all kind of orient toward each other. So that may be really helpful. If the original injury was in the jaw, then we might think about how that's influencing other signals from the trigeminal nucleus. By the way, there's these trigeminal sympathetic reflexes that occur. So that's really interesting, right? Where it affects the output of the heart in relationship to the cardiovascular system. So that's probably helpful. My finding, because I'm really biased and I see certain types of cases, a lot of times when I see the jaw-related ones that are not from an injury directly to the jaw, we end up finding more problems in like orientation of the neck, or with something that's happened with some sort of dental work that was done, or orthodontic work that was done. So maybe that helps. So if you've got a normal perfusion level, why would you still feel signs of orthostatic intolerance when standing in one spot, like on a tilt, feeling like you can't think or get words out? This is again, so it's that capacity of that system to be able to run clean. When you're up and moving around, you have the benefit of also getting return from the muscles in your body. So when you're standing still, you don't get the benefit of having your lungs and lower body muscles pushing blood like a secondary pump back up into your heart. You're relying purely on brain, heart, blood vessels, go. So when you're standing still, you're actually stressing that system more than when you're moving, which is kind of wild to think about. So the standing still part is actually like harder, and I think most people can relate to that. So in the early days, we actually get people kind of pumping their feet in between standing still. So as they're building the capacity to stand still, we give them those little pumps with their body that helps them keep moving.